Well, with the season over, it's officially mock draft season here on Titans Today, and we have our first one for you. We appreciate you watching. As always, I'm your host, Jace Andrews, and today we have a full 7-round mock draft, and I'm telling you, the coverage doesn't stop after the season. We got you covered on all the offseason things, so make sure you're subscribed. And without further ado, let's get into today's show talking about this draft order. First thing we do have to look at is that draft order, like I mentioned. Bears at the number 1 pick as they got it via Carolina. Commanders with the number 2 pick. Patriots at number 3. Cardinals at number 4. Chargers at 5. Giants at 6. And the Titans, even with the win, stay true at number 7 as the Falcons bump up to 8 with the Jets beating the Patriots. So we kind of knew it, but the Titans will get that 7th overall pick. And now you got to start thinking, what are the options? What are you going to do? And how can you make this the best offseason possible to make this Titans team competitive in a pretty good AFC South next year? Now, if you're excited for all the offseason coverage, I mentioned it. We got free agents. We got draft targets. We got mock drafts like you're watching right now. We're going to have it all for you right here on Titans Today. If you're excited for it, do me a favor, hit that like button. That lets me know that we're still pumped, we're still amped, and we're still ready to go and have this team keep continuing to try and get better even when there are no football games being played. So hit that like button. I'd certainly appreciate it. And let's get into today's mock draft with the first pick. Round 1, pick 7. I'm going Joe Alt, offensive tackle from Notre Dame. I know there's a couple options you can go with here, but overall, Joe Alt is the most secure option, especially at the offensive line position. If you look at what is available, you have Joe Alt, and that's probably what will be available, hopefully. There's also Olu Fashanu as another offensive lineman. Or you could go Brock Bowers, a generational tight end from Georgia, who is being labeled as one of the best tight end prospects in history. Meanwhile, we had Sam Laporta breaking records this past season with the Lions. So obviously, it's pretty intriguing to see what Ran Carthon decides to do. But from inside sources, I'm pretty sure they're going to be going offensive line heavy because they want to protect their quarterback way more than they did this year. And who better than Joe Alt, who played at Notre Dame and only allowed 4 sacks his entire career at Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish guy certainly fought, and good grief. 4 sacks in a career allowed is absolutely insane for a guy who has been in college for a good amount of time. I mean, this guy is not some 2-year sophomore playing there a little bit. No, this guy's a vet. He can go in there, and I guarantee you, if you get him first round, he may be all-pro his first year. This guy knows what he's doing, and if he's there at 7, I think you have to take him, especially since you look at a lot of things that this Titans team has to fix, has to get ready to do, and ultimately, guess what? Sacks, that's a big thing, because the Titans were the 3rd worst team in the entire NFL at allowing sacks. Giants had 83 sacks. Jets had 63, and the Titans had 62 along with the Panthers. It's just insane because you look at these stats and you think, how in the world was this offensive line that terrible? Well, guess what? You can get help, and you need it bad here. You need it bad because you have an option to get Fashanu. Either way, you got to go offensive line in that first pick if it's right there. I think if Alt and Fashanu aren't there, maybe that's when you start looking at tight end, possibly even wide receiver. Now, I want you to let me know. Obviously, offensive line isn't the most flashy pick in the first round, but I think it's the right pick. So, let you make the decision on this one. Who would you like the Titans to draft with their first overall pick in round 1 at pick 7? Would you like them to get a tight end? Then I want you to type TE. If you'd like them to get an offensive lineman, then type OL. And if you'd like them to get a wide receiver, try and boost this wide receiver core. Obviously, with the Traylon Burks guy, he may be getting traded. We don't know yet. Well, then type WR if you want a wide receiver. Let me know in the comment section of today's video. Second pick, I established that wide receiver. I get that wide receiver. I get Adonai Mitchell, the wide receiver from Texas. He's proven himself at 2 different colleges in his college career, at Georgia and at Texas. This guy has been doing it from year in and year out, and he knows what to do on the highest stage. He has been catching passes in college football playoff games since 2021. This guy knows what he's doing. He is a veteran-type guy right off the bat, and you can immediately put him in and say, all right, we're going to get this done. We are going to have a guy that we know we can trust. And to be honest, in my personal opinion, this is a first-round talent here that you get in round 2. I think he has the ability to have first-round things. He's done a lot of amazing things, and overall, I think he can be able to get in here and make this offense even better than it was this year. And I think there was times where this offense showed flashes of greatness. You talk about the Miami Dolphins game, and you like what you saw. You pair Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins, Adonai Mitchell, and Joe all together, that offense goes from sub-tier to maybe A. I mean, this thing is going to bounce up so freaking much. Now, I know it's the offseason, and I know that maybe you're not as excited with the Titans, but if you want to get some good gear, well, guess what? We got a special deal for you over at Fanatics. You can get this Tennessee Titans shirt and hat combo. It's usually $50. You can get it for less than $40 today. We're going to put the link in the description of this video. Go down there, click that. You're going to get 25% off. Usually $50 for the shirt and hat. Make sure you get your Titans gear. Support the Titans, obviously, all year round. And hey, if you're going to go to the NFL draft in Detroit, if you want to wear this on draft night, when the Titans have that number 7 pick, well, guess what? Now is your time to do it because after the season, that's when the big deals are. Go down there. We're going to put the link in the description of this video. You can get it, a hat and a shirt, 25% off, usually $50. Now it's less than $40. Go get it while it lasts. I'm telling you, you're not going to regret it. I want some more Titans gear before we head into the offseason. Right now, it's the perfect time to do it before the NFL draft. Let's continue with this mock draft here, and the second, or rather third pick in round 4 is another guard. I'm going to go Zinter from Michigan. Obviously, I think the line needs such a big help. I'm willing to spend 2 early round picks on it. Round 4, you're both getting a tackle on a guard. I like that a lot. You set your lineup for success because you have Joel, you have Zinter, and then you have Skoronski in his second year. I like a lot of those. The big thing with Zinter, though, is he did break his leg back in November after the Ohio State game. Now, is that going to affect him in his draft stock, in the way he's going to be selected? A little bit, but at the same time, he says it should not affect him going into the NFL season. He said it's a 3-month, 4-month recovery time. He should be fine around the combine time. Probably doesn't expect to compete in the combine, do anything with that. But still, this guy, just like Alt, his stats tell you everything. Now, Alt, 4 career sacks in his entire college career. Zinter, he only allowed 5 pressures in 2023. 5 pressures. He was facing a bunch of big defensive lines in the Big Ten, and yet he allowed just 5 pressures to J.J. McCarthy. This guy knows what he's doing. He's a national champion as of last night, and I'm telling you, he's the guy to get if you're in round 4 and you still want that offensive line help. I think he's a good one, and I overall like the fit of him in this Titans offensive line, especially pairing him with Joe Alt. You have the tackle, you have the guard. You could possibly go get a veteran in free agency and combine all these 3 and make your offensive line so much better. You've got a lot of money to spend. You've got some good draft picks. Go out there, use them properly, beef up this line as much as possible. Now, if you want more Tennessee Titans mock drafts like we have today, we're going to do a lot over the next coming weeks and talking about maybe trading away the 7th pick, talking about drafting a tight end at 7th pick. We're going to do a lot of different scenarios. So if you want more, if you're excited for more, and we got everything else from free agency news to possible cut candidates to trade candidates, everything you can want and more. So hit that subscribe button today. We also got the latest on Mike Vrabel, on Derrick Henry, and everything with your Tennessee Titans. So right now, do me a favor, scroll down. You're going to see that little red subscribe button. Just click that. It'll turn gray. I certainly appreciate it, and you'll be informed and entertained, hopefully, by every single Titans information and news we'll give to you. Let's go into our round 5 pick at pick number 144. Theo Johnson, a tight end from Penn State. Now, I know that people like Okonkwo. I know that he is one of those guys that you think, I like what I've seen from him. I want him to be the guy. Well, I think if you have Theo Johnson, you can kind of do that. Because the one thing that Okonkwo is not the greatest at, well, it's blocking. Theo Johnson can do that. He's one of the greater blockers at Penn State with his tight end abilities. Plus, he can go and catch. It allows you to do 2 tight end sets. Plus, you saw his build. It's more of a Kyle Pitts tight end than a Okonkwo bigger body type end, which is what Mike Vrabel kind of likes. He's fast, he's agile. I like what I've seen from Theo at Penn State. Again, Big Ten offensive there. He knows what he's doing. Now, here's where things I think can get interesting. Round 6, pick 185. I'm going Jase McClellan, the running back out of Alabama. I like what I've seen from him. I think overall he has gotten a lot of good opportunities. Plus, just to name a few, you have Josh Jacobs, you have Derrick Henry, you have Najee Harris, you have a ton of good Alabama running backs that this guy has waited behind. Plus, not to talk about it because I know it's a sore subject right now, but you need a running back if Derrick Henry leaves. And I think McClellan could fit that mold. Obviously, I like Tajay Spears. I think he is your guy you want to go to. But at the same time, I don't think he is a bell cow back because we've seen what Tony Pollard did this season. I like to compare him to him. Pollard, as a secondary back, as a two-man work, was insane. This season by himself, not so much. Now, did he still have a pretty decent season? Yes. But I think Tajay, similar to Tony, needs that extra guy to make his motor run. And I think McClellan could do that because not only has he a bigger body, he also understands vision, which is something that Mike Vrabel kind of pounded home with Tajay over the season. You have an 890-yard guy over 180 carries, 8 touchdowns from McClellan too. Now, I'm Jase, he's Jase, so I have a little bit of bias. I would like to see him on the Tennessee Titans. But overall, I think he fits this organizational mold. And again, Alabama back replacing Alabama back sounds like a good thing to me. Round 7, final pick of this mock draft. This is where you get that defensive back help. We talked a little bit about it over the past couple weeks. That defensive back is probably also a position you want to focus on. I'm going Jalen Catalon out of the University of Texas at 228. He's a bigger safety, understands the field, and in my opinion, he's a risk pick. But you're in round 7. If you have a risk pick at round 7, I think that works. And the secondary has just been really, really bad. It's been tough. You obviously have Sean Murphy-Bunting, who you want to retain. Azeez Al-Shaair at the linebacker slot, you want to keep him. There's a lot of things and moving pieces that you want to keep on this team, which is why I think you don't take much defensive back help early in the draft. But with Catalon, you get a guy who has the mold of pretty much everything you want. It's just about coaching him up. I think his football IQ is just a little lower than a lot of guys who will be drafted above him. But his body type, the way he moves, it looks like an NFL caliber guy. He just doesn't understand the field as much as some other guys would. But we have Mike Vrabel. You have a great defensive-minded coach. You can understand that I think it would be very easy to train him up. You get him, and then you fill some guys up with free agency. That's the way you help your secondary. I don't think you go draft some people. It's just not going to be your main help right now. The secondary was fine at the back half of the season, but you still want to try and get some help, especially if you lose Sean Murphy-Bunting. Well, there's the 7 rounds, 6 picks. You got to go back through it as we have Joe Alt. You then get Adonai Mitchell. Then you get Zach Zinter. Theo Johnson. You go with Jace McClellan. And then rounding out Jalen Catalon. Grade that mock draft A, B, C, D, or F. Do you like what you saw from it? I'll be honest, I did this myself, and I went through PFF. I got an B- grade, was the lowest grade on any of those picks. And the only one that was B- was Theo Johnson. And I think that may have been just because they didn't understand the tight end pick they wanted it earlier. So, what do you think? Do you agree with PFF? Do you think this is a good draft? Do you think, I hate this draft, I want more defensive players? Well, then let me know. Grade today's mock draft A, B, C, D, or F. How do you like the pick at number 1 with Joe Alt, and so on? We appreciate you watching today's video. I know my voice is starting to get a little better. Hopefully you're powering through it. I apologize, but hey, we're still here. We're still pushing out content, and we're still making sure that you're covered on everything with the Tennessee Titans. So we got you covered right here. As always, Titans fans, lighten up and peace out.